All right, everybody, welcome into this week's AMA for the Denver Nuggets, who have clinched the Western Conference semifinal series. Ryan, they are headed to the Western Conference Finals. We don't know who their opponent will be, either the Lakers or the Warriors, but how are you feeling today about this whole thing?
How could you not feel great, Kim? I mean, this is unbelievable. I'm still buzzing after last night. The energy from the team and from the fan base was unbelievable. And how great to do it to that team on their home court. Phoenix Suns fans were a little bit wild after their win a couple years ago. And it's great to see Denver pay them back.
I mean, it was just an awesome game. They were up 30 points at halftime. Nikola Jokic with his 11th playoff triple-double. KCP had a fantastic performance. All in all, really exciting. Now they get a few days off. Game one will be Tuesday in Ball Arena, like I said, against the Lakers or the Warriors. So we'll find out what happens there. But we've got a lot of questions, of course, to get to, specifically about this Game 6 and about what we can expect to see in the next series. But let's start with this first one. What was the best part of Game 6 for you, Ryan?
I mean, it's probably honestly got to be KCP, right?
Yeah.
KCP is unbelievable. And it's great to see what he was able to accomplish for sure. 21 points in that first half and stepping up exactly when the Nuggets needed him to. Really cool to see him show up in such a big way. Denver, you didn't know what Jamal Murray was going to bring with his sickness. You didn't know what anybody else was going to bring on the road because Denver's had a little bit of an issue with role players stepping up on the road in this series. But this one, KCP shut the door. Every little bit of those points. He had 17 in the first quarter. Denver was up by 18 after that first quarter, and KCP played the entire bit of it. He was the difference maker, and it really separated Denver from what Phoenix was able to get from their guys. So really cool to see him step up in that zone. He's a champion. He's exactly who the Nuggets wanted him to be. They brought him in to be a role player, to be a championship caliber pedigree kind of guy. And he stepped up when the team absolutely needed it.
And this is a championship caliber team right now. They were favored to win the entire thing yesterday after the Lakers dropped Game 5. Now I'm sure the odds are even better. I mean, people are starting to see that this team definitely has what it takes. They are the team to beat. I'm sure you can agree with that one. And it's definitely going to be a very, very thrilling couple weeks here. This next question, what's been your favorite moment of the playoffs so far, though? Could it be a play, a whole performance, or one of the two scuffles? What do you think, Ryan?
I mean, I had to think about this for a little bit. I think it's probably game one of this last series, just because when the Suns came into the building, you didn't know exactly what you were going to get. You didn't know exactly in this series how the team was going to respond to what was clearly a better team in Phoenix than they faced in the first round in Minnesota. Jamal Murray steps up in that moment as a massive game, but the entire team as a whole, with the way that they played defense in quarters 2, 3, and 4. I remember the first quarter in that series being wowed by the actual play from both of those teams and how high level the play was from both of those teams. But the Nuggets continued it. They put their stamp on that game, ended up being a party for most of the second half. And it was really cool to see Denver step up in that moment. And you got the sense that they were capable, that they weren't going to shy away from this moment as a team. And that was when I really knew, okay, this is the team. This is the group that you have to have in order to get to at least the conference finals. And I believe that they have everything they need to become and to win the NBA finals going forward.
Right.
They still have to get there, but that was when I first knew it.
Nice. We like that confidence from Ryan. That is why we are here. I love it. All right, this next one. We need some pessimism to ground us, I think. I know I'm feeling myself too much. This goes perfectly with how we just ended that last one. How would you stop us from flying too high after that answer you just
Well,
gave?
I know exactly. That's me, Captain Pessimism, most of the time. So I think the best thing to do is to remind Nuggets fans, you're only halfway there. Like it feels like you're closer. It feels like, given all of the winning, given all of the momentum that they've accumulated over the course of these last couple of weeks, you would think that they're closer. They're not. They've never been to the NBA Finals as a franchise before, and they still need 4 wins in order to get there. It's not like that they've never been closer than this point, but they are still so far away from what they have to accomplish. And there are going to be teams that challenge them in completely different ways than how the Suns challenged them in this round, how the T-Wolves challenged them in last round. There is plenty to still have to discuss, and Denver's probably still going to go through plenty of ups and downs on that path, but we're going to see. All of these teams remaining left standing are good. All of them, and maybe some of them are great. We still don't fully know. I do think that the Nuggets have a great chance. I don't think that they are like penciled into the NBA Finals or anything like that, though. And you know you're gonna have to face either LeBron James or Steph Curry. Like that's not an exciting prospect to me.
Two of the best in the game, which leads me right into this next question. Who would you rather the Nuggets play in the Western Conference Finals, the Lakers or the Warriors?
It's a tough one. Like, I think they definitely have benefits and detriments to each of those matchups.
Sure.
Start with the Lakers here. Lakers are a bit more like they have more depth now. I'm surprised to be able to say that, but they have a lot of guys that you have to account for beyond LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Austin Reeves has stepped up in a big way for them. Rui Hachimura was the guy in the first round against the Memphis Grizzlies. You have D'Angelo Russell, who has given Denver problems in the past. There's plenty of guys that you can look at and say, yeah, that could be a problem. That could be a problem in various matchups. On the other hand, you have the Warriors, and the Warriors are extremely talented still. The championship pedigree with those guys is it's unstoppable at this point. And if you're Steph Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, those guys know how to attack Denver. They attacked Denver last year, and they know how to attack Jokic in different actions and in pick and roll. They probably have fewer answers defensively than a team like the Lakers do, just because they have so many more bodies that they can throw at the Nuggets, as well as Anthony Davis, who is a great, great defender. But Draymond Green's still really good too. So I think if I were a Nuggets fan, I'd rather see the Warriors from a schematic standpoint, just because I don't think that they have as many answers to what the Nuggets are doing right now. However, if it's narrative based, if what we're really talking about is the perfect run for this Nuggets team, it's got to be the Lakers. It's got to be. Like, you have to go through the Lakers. Think about this franchise's history. Think about the ceiling that they have reached every single year that they've gotten to the Western Conference Finals. Which team has stopped them? It's been the Lakers. It's been the Lakers for eons at this point. So if you are a Nuggets fan, you better want the Lakers, because that is the team that you have to go through and kill Nug life where it stands.
Yeah, absolutely. I am completely agree with you on that one. I'm glad you mentioned that, the whole history thing too, because that's exactly what I was thinking. All right, this next question from Matthew. If we face the Lakers, so we'll kind of stay on the same track here. Yep. If we face the Lakers, do you think Michael Malone will expand his rotation, seeing how the Lakers have been using so many guys?
It's a great question. And I think that as you get deeper into the playoffs, you're going to start to see fatigue, especially for a team like the Nuggets that, well, they're not using a ton of different options here. They're using the 8 players that they do, the starters, and all of the minutes that those guys have played, as well as Bruce Brown, who plays basically starter minutes anyway. And then Jeff Green and Christian Brown are kind of the interchangeable players that they've used at those 7th and 8th man spots. If it is the Lakers, we got to think about, what are the Lakers' strengths? What are the Nuggets' weaknesses? How are they going to try to exploit Denver? And I think that, honestly, I like that 8-man rotation against the Lakers because of the wing size, because of the versatility. The most important thing the Lakers are going to do is they're going to try to attack the rim. Denver needs switchability. They need isolation defenders. They need guys that are willing to help out each other. And I think that this 8-man rotation has what it takes there. Dropping a Peyton Watson or a Zeke Naji or a Vlatko Čančar into the middle of that seems a little bit far-fetched. Now, maybe Thomas Bryant, who's a former Laker, somebody who could step up in that situation, maybe he's a guy that you drop in there and say, hey, we need you to grab as many offensive rebounds and finish in the lane as possible. Maybe that's something that Denver could try, but I don't really see it. I don't think that that's going to happen. And even Reggie Jackson, somebody like that, I just think that Denver's mostly good with their 8-man rotation right now. And trying to expand it is probably the wrong call, but you never know. You always get weird heroes on the way to a massive title run. Maybe it's somebody who's outside the 8-man rotation, but I can't really see it right now.
All right, Ryan, we've got 2 questions remaining before we wrap this one up, and you get a few days off before the finals start, which I'm sure is much needed on your end. But the second to last question here, if the Sixers lose in Game 7, did the NBA fail to crown Jokic? Yikes, his three-peat MVP.
There's a lot of pushback. There was a lot of pushback on giving Nikola Jokic his flowers. I think that anybody that looked at the numbers objectively and they were thinking, okay, let's take this 82 game season as it is. Who actually played the best across those 82 games? It's probably Jokic. Like statistically, it was pretty clear based off of what he was doing. Did Joel Embiid have a fantastic year? Absolutely. I don't want to take anything away from Embiid. He has been the second best player in the NBA during the regular seasons across the last 3 years. But Jokic has been the best. Jokic has been the guy that has carried Denver, put him on his back at various points. And I think what we're seeing now in the playoffs as now that Nikola Jokic doesn't have two hands tied behind his back with injuries to Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., you're seeing what this team can look like. You're seeing what Nikola Jokic can look like when he's fully optimized, when the team is ready to go and kicking and doing everything. I think the Sixers, if they end up losing on Sunday, first of all, I'm going to laugh my ass off because, like, why wouldn't I at this stage? Because they choked away Game 6 on Thursday night right before the Nuggets actually clinched and had a house party in Phoenix.
Yeah.
So that's always fun. That's always enjoyable. But I do think that this Sixers team, if they do lose Game 7, and you've got Joel Embiid, who has a ceiling of the conference semifinals at this point throughout his entire career, and then you've got Jokic, who, hey, you get those guys healthy, and he's never missed the conference finals outside of the first time that he was in the playoffs. Like there's just levels to this. So I do think that this is an opportunity to crown Jokic, but he has to deliver, has to win the NBA championship. I don't think that it's anything less than that. You can say he got farther than Embiid if that's what ultimately happens, but I think he's got to go the furthest distance. I think he's got to collect a finals MVP as well.
I think that's the only thing left, right, on his plate. I mean, that's what he wants. That's what he cared about most. The whole MVP thing was obviously something that did not really sit with a lot of weight in what he wants this season. So I agree with you. I think he's got to go all the way. And honestly, like, sorry to whoever asked this question. Honestly, I hope we can just stop talking about it after this. I kind of wanted to stop talking about the whole MVP thing before. I know some stuff came out yesterday saying, people are realizing it maybe should have been Jokic, and that I'm spacing on his name, the guy from ESPN who didn't even have him in his top 5, Mark Jackson. There you go. Like, I understand, that they're coming out and saying, okay, we made a mistake. He should have definitely been up there. But at the end of the day, it's in the past. What we want is in the future. And that's what these guys are going for. And pretty much the only thing that Jokic probably cares about right now. So we love that. We've got one last question. This one from Nuggets fan 2715. If the Nuggets reach the finals, who is the easiest and toughest matchup in the East for this Denver team?
It's a great question because I have no idea, if I'm being honest. The way that things are as topsy-turvy as they are, when I look at the Eastern Conference, I'm not inspired by a lot of confidence in any of these teams, if I'm being frank. The Miami Heat were an 8th seed, and yet they are probably the most definitively proven team in that group right now. Yeah. Boston going through it, they just won Game 6 on the road, but Jason Tatum was 1 of 14 heading into that fourth quarter against the Philadelphia 76ers, and then the Sixers ended up choking that game as much as Philly, as much as Boston ended up like winning it. I don't think that they wanted as much as Philly lost it, if we're being honest. So, and then New York, I don't really have that much respect for New York. I think that Denver, in the matchups that they had against them in the regular season, Denver didn't really try that hard. They're levels to this where I think Denver can reach a little bit higher. I don't think that the Nuggets are really worried about New York. So they would probably be my easiest matchup, just because I think the Jokic would be fantastic in that. Hardest matchup, it's not Miami, just because Jokic will dominate Miami. It is not, so it's either going to be Boston or Philly, but neither of those teams are really special to me. Neither of those teams are really a group that I'm that afraid of. I think that it would probably be Philly, just because of that matchup with the Harden and Embiid pick and roll, if that were to end up manifesting. But I could see Boston being more challenging because they have more weapons in general, but I don't know. Like, I feel really good about where Denver stands. I don't see either of those teams as an impossible matchup or anything like that, and they're both pretty equal. So I will say Philly for simplicity is the toughest matchup, but it could be Boston just as easily.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll find out soon if they do make it to the finals. First, they've got to get through this Western Conference Finals. Like you said, they're only halfway there in the postseason. But hey, Ryan, halfway there is better than nothing, right? But this is the best position they could possibly be in this moment. I know Denver fans are elated. It's going to be a very exciting week next week here in Denver. Hopefully the sun comes back out, because I think I speak for everyone when I say we're sick of this weird weather. But that's a whole other topic. Ryan, thank you so much for your insight. Enjoy your weekend. I know you're going to be very, very busy in these next couple of weeks, but it's going to be a fun, exciting time for you. So soak it up.
Maybe I'll go to the swimming pool just like Nikola Jokic, Kim. Good time.
I love it. Thanks, Ryan.